All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as you can see in the title of this lesson, The Great Awakening, the time is short. Okay, and I have a couple of precepts here, and I wanted to speak on a few things in light of the current events that have been happening. I'm sure majority of us, if not all of us, have been up to date on what's basically going on. Okay, and pretty much everybody's talking about it, which is good because the truth is getting out there. All right, even this I don't even know what channel this is, but as you can see, look, here's the title: Why are WNs not sticking up for Kanye West? Question mark. All right, and in this video, which I took a look at, which at the end of the day, this is all biblical prophecy. Okay, and for those of us who do videos on these subjects or just videos in general pushing out the truth, I wouldn't be surprised that they already, I mean, they were already shadow banning us, but now more so. Okay, and then eventually just taking us off these different platforms, because in this video, which I'm not gonna play this video, but I will link it in the description box. But definitely go and check it out. It was done by the elder brother Manasseh Zakpa. Okay, now in this video, this lady here, let's go right here, um, Rabbi Angela, yeah, that name right there. So there's a couple of things that when you watch the video, you hear her say. Okay, and it's very important to keep a spiritual ear and spiritual eyes out whenever you watch um these videos and so on and so forth, these news clips and all of these things, right? Because they don't come out and just say whatever they want to say, right? We all know that prior to the interviews and the talk shows, everything is scripted, and they know what they're told to say, and they tell them certain key words to use when speaking about certain things, and these are all subliminals. All right, these are all going into the minds of the people. Okay, it's all part of the enchantments. Okay, now when you hear her speak, she mentions a few things, she speaks on a few things, but she talks about Yay. All right, about Yay. Like I said, I'm sure in the future they're going to update guidelines, and all of these videos that we're doing now, they're more than likely going to do a backfill and come and take all these videos down, or give our channels a strike for making videos like this, or whatever the case is. But that's all right, because the truth is the truth. All right, and the thing about the truth is, no matter how many lies you tell, you cannot destroy the truth. It eventually will come out. So she speaks about Ye and his platform and his followers, but if you listen closely, you notice that she refers to his followers as his army, okay, or an army of supporters, and she keeps using that term over and over again. Oh, and an army, and an army, and an army, okay, which I mean is spiritual, because in the book of Ezekiel 37, it does refer to us waking up as an army. But when you use these kinds of terms, you're not only continuing obviously with her demonization, but you're throwing that term out there, because when you think of army, you don't think of peace, you think of war. Okay, that those are terms that are used in that: army, troops, soldiers, all of these things, right? The second thing you hear is um, she mentions that they should it's good that these companies came down, and Adidas cut their sponsorship or whatever it is with Kanye and all of these things, but also they should speak about anti-sem. Okay, they should speak about that, but they shouldn't give the I need to find a nickname for this, man. They should have given the anti essers. All right. They should have given the anti sems, the actual people, a platform to speak. Okay. Basically that's what she was saying. She was saying, yeah, we should speak about it, and quote unquote educate people on what is going on and all of these things, but don't give people like Ye any more interviews or any more of these things for him to come and say or speak his rhetoric. Instead, basically ban them from saying these things, but then you educate the rest of the world on what this is. But anybody with um, with sound reasoning and common sense would stop and say, wait a minute. You're okay, you're labeling a lot of things under this term right here. And we've told you this is what they do. They have the term and they demonize the term, right? They make that term, they build up the term to be such a very evil term, right? And that way, all they have to do is just label you with that term, and that's it. You lose all your credibility. You lose anything because the second they label so they say, "Oh, what is an anti-sem? Anti-sem person? Oh, that's somebody that says this or believes in this or does this, and it also means that they're more than likely to do this, and they promote this, and this is what they believe, right? When they do that, if they call you an anti-Sem, that means everything that this label comes with now automatically applies to you. So they don't need to come and prove that you are a bigot or you are a racist or you are a whatever term they want to label you as, because the fact that they said you're an anti-Sem, it is assumed that you are everything that this anti-Sem label comes with. And that's what they do. Now, like I was saying, anybody with common sense, instead of jumping on the bandwagon and say, "Oh, these guys are this and that and this," stop for a second, do some research, just look into it and say, okay, well, you said that they're anti-Sem because of this, right? Because they said things like the J's, right? The JEWs control a lot of these the media corporations and they run the banks and all that. Okay, well, let me actually go and do some research and find out, is this true or not? Okay, do JEWs actually own a lot of these corporations that are in charge of the media and the banking industry and all of that? Let me actually go and find out, is that true or not? Because then I can make a decision for myself and say, wait a minute, you call them anti-Sem, right? Which doesn't make sense if they're Shemites, right? The term is Shem, not Sem, because first off, how anyway, the term is Shem, not Sem. All right, Noah's son's name was Shem, Shemite. First off, the ite at the end is a suffix which means pertaining to or belonging to. Okay, so when you call somebody an Israelite or a Shemite, they're people of Shem or people belonging to Shem. Okay, so the name was Shem, not Sem. But the point is, you'll stop and say, wait a minute, but what they said was not a lie. Because when I went and did the research, I found out, and in the video that we did about a day or two ago, we went into, for example, the same magazine, Rolling Stones, that was talking about the claim of the JEWs running a lot of things in the world being an anti-Sem claim. Well, we went and looked up even an example of the founder of Rolling Stones and the chief editor of Rolling Stones, and they were JEWs. And a lot of the things that they said, oh, the JEWs having a hand in the slave trade is an anti-Sem trope. But when you go and look it up, you find out, wait, that they actually did. Go and look up the Dutch JEWs. Okay. Now, the point is, once you find out that this is true, you'll realize, wait a minute. So you guys don't care about what's true and what's false. You guys don't care whether what they're saying is actually true or not, because you're just gonna label anything that you don't like anti-Sem. So that means that you can necessarily say the truth is anti-Sem. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not, but we just say it's anti-Sem. But you realize when you say anti, you mean against, right? So if somebody comes out and says, "Oh, I'm a JEW," how is that? How does that mean that they are against JEWs? And these are the questions that people are starting to ask now, because people are waking up. People are starting to actually look into it and say, "Wait a minute, this doesn't make sense." A lot of people are asking that question. Wait, how is this anti whatever? How is this? How? And that is the reason why they're trying to demonize us, because these questions is going to make people think, is going to make people question, and that's a problem. What's a problem with telling lies? Questions. When you tell a lie, the last thing you want is a question. Say you're out, right, and you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be, and your man or your parents or somebody, whatever it is, they call you and you tell them a lie. Oh, I'm here when you're not really there. The worst thing that you need is for them to ask you questions. Oh, you said you're here? Well, what's that noise in the background? Or what time did you get there? I thought you said that you were going to be here at this time. Questions. Questions are dangerous to lies, because when you tell one lie and a question comes, you need to tell another lie, right? Oh, you said that you were at home, but you're really at the bar. What? You're at home. What's that noise in the background? Now you tell another lie. Oh, it's the TV. Oh, it's the TV, really? Well, who's that in the back? It sounds like somebody just broke glass. That's not. Oh, now you need to tell. Oh, sorry, I just dropped the. I'm in the kitchen right now. You're telling lies and lies and lies until one of your lies doesn't add up, and then you get caught. So that's the problem right now, is people are asking questions about the lies that have been told over generation after generation after generation, right? Because we're coming out with information and it's causing people to question, wait, but this makes sense. Why did you guys say this if this is really the case? And that is the danger. That is why we're so dangerous. That's why we're so quote unquote extreme. Are we more extreme than you? Are we the ones who went and enslaved? Have we enslaved anybody? No. Have we dropped bombs on any other country? No. Have we done terroristic acts across the continent that we're on? No. Have we flown into a country and just dropped bombs on them, claiming that they did something? No. So how are we the extreme ones? If we take a look at your track record and the things that you've done, I think we'd find that you are more extreme than us. If we go and read in your Talmuds and these books, you wanna know about extreme? Go and read about the true secrets that they have in those books. And you find out what extreme is. But the point is, this is all prophecy, the Great Awakening, and it can't be stopped. There's been an upward trend in prophecy for going on and on and on, and the fear is that they can't stop it. Okay, because this, like Gamaliel said, if this be of men, you're not gonna. I mean, if this be of the Most High, you're not gonna be able to stop it. It doesn't matter what you say or what you do or what you push. But anyway, the next thing, which, like I said, let me actually put this link here in the description box. So the next link is here, dealing with Kyrie Irving. So you had Ye, and then you have Kyrie, and pretty much after the post, after the link, okay, they asked him in the press conference, they were asking him questions about it, and so on and so forth. Now this is on RT News, okay, and this is what they're saying on RT News, because like we always say, anything that happens here, it's especially dealing with this, all right, it goes global very quickly, all right. So it says basketball star defends himself following post about anti yada yada film. Right? It says Kyrie Irving shared a link to a movie called Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. And when we say, wait, if we didn't call ourselves Hebrews, we called ourselves, I don't know, Kemet, or we called ourselves of any other belief or religion or whatever, there wouldn't be a problem. The problem is if we say we're the Hebrews, the reason you feel threatened is because you said you're the Hebrews, right? So now there can only be it's either we're the true Israelites or you're the true Israelites or somebody's telling a lie, right? And if why not just come out and bring facts? See, if what we're saying is so irrelevant, what we're saying is is just full of hate, right? Why don't you go and bring the facts? If we say, oh, they do this, they do that, so you come out with the facts and say, no, 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 you guys are actually wrong. Let us educate you on what's actually going on. So you said this, but this is actually what it is. You brought out this book, but in actuality, this is what happened. Why not do that? Because they're not doing that. They're just taking anything you say and they say, oh, no, it's anti-Semitic. That's it. Close the book right there. Well, can you actually sit down and explain how and why and give us some proof? Can you tell us why it's so wrong for us to believe that we are the true Hebrews, the true Israelites? Because first off, a Hebrew is not, you have Hebrew Israelites, Hebrew Edomites, Hebrew Elamites, anybody that, and it's in your quote unquote Torah. If you go and you read the lineage, if you read the line of the chosen people, if you read the line of Shem, and you go all the way down to Eber, and you go all the way down to the descendants, the Hebrews are not just J's, Jews, okay? Hebrew Israelites of the Israelites, or the children of Israel, which literally are the children of Jacob. He had 12 sons. There's 12 or 13, but nevertheless, anyway, that's including the tribe of Dan. But when you read in the book of Revelation, there's 12 tribes, right? It's all known that there's 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So if there's 12 tribes, what happened to the rest of the 11? All we hear about are the J's, right? Where's Issachar? Where's Zebulon? Where's Naphtali? Where's Manasseh? Where's Reuben? Where's Simeon? Where are the rest of the tribes? Okay. So when you say you're in Hebrew, okay, what are you? What, a Hebrew Israelite, a Hebrew Edomite, a Hebrew Elamite? The East Indians, they're Hebrews as well. What are you? But they won't explain that because they know that the average individual doesn't study. The average individual doesn't go into these things, but we do. Yeah, we may look like just some, just whatever, these are like regular men on the street corners, but if you actually listen, we do research. We take the time to read and study. The information is there. You do realize that there are a lot of books, very expensive books, that go into the truth of the who the true Israelites are, right? And you know that a lot of those books are also written by JEWs, not by us. As a matter of fact, there's information that was brought out by a so-called Dutch JEW rabbi that was exposing how you had JEWs. It's not only having a what's it? I think it's oh man, can I remember this? Is it Jewish Savannah Plantation? Let's see if I remember this correctly. Jordan Savain. Let's see what it says. So Jordan Savain, if I'm saying that right, is Dutch for Jewish Savannah, was a Jewish plantation community in Suriname, South America. Let's see, and was for a time the center of Jewish life in the colony. It was established in the 1600s by Sephardic Jays and so on and so forth. Now, there was a certain term that I was reading through all this. There was a certain term, was it Hanukkah? Let me see. Hanukkah. Can we find this? Let me see. And Black Pete. All right. So so interestingly enough, I was doing some research on this, and I came across some information about this right here. It was called Black Pete. And if I'm not mistaken, apparently it's basically, the story is you have Santa Claus, right? But then you also have Black Pete, which is Black Pete is basically a dark skinned guy who is, if you do good, Santa Claus comes and rewards you. But if you do bad, then Black Pete basically comes out and he whoops your ass. Um, and whenever they celebrate this, it's basically like blackface, right? They put on the semi afro-ish whatever, and then they put on the black face and all of that, and then they put on the red lips and stuff in honor of Black Pete. And I found this as I was looking up some information concerning the JEW's hand in the slave trade. Okay, and they did have a hand in it. All right, they partook in selling slaves. They partook in owning slaves. They were part of that. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Black Pete. analyzing a racialized Dutch tradition through the history of Western creations of stereotypes of Black peoples. Um, let's see, it says Dutch society and therefore Dutch people takes much pride or much prides in being extremely tolerant and anti-racist. Their history proves it. Their open policies demonstrate it, yet there is a huge discrepancy between what is claimed by society in general and what many minorities experience. It says the traditional Dutch celebration of Santa Claus or Sinterklaas in Dutch is an example of such a discrepancy. The character of Black Pete or Zwart Piet is in the Sinterklaas holiday has been a very controversial issue in the Netherlands. Many believe the depiction of Black Pete is racist. This article will look at the historical origins of some of the most standard stereotypes pitted against Black people by Europe and the United States and use them as a foundation for analyzing the portrayal of Black Pete and the controversy surrounding it. Now, what I'll do is I'll put the link to this in the description box. You can read it for yourself as well. But I believe that this rabbi that was writing about this information, I believe he was also going into how there were certain JEWs, Dutch JEWs that were basically getting into this. All right. Let me see if I can find his name. There we go. The name of the rabbi was or is Rabbi, let me see, Rabbi Lodi van de Kemp. And let's see. Yep, that's his name. Rabbi Lodi van de Kemp, which wrote some information concerning the involvement of the JEWs. Let me see. Yep, that's him right there. It says the J role in African slave trade admitted by rabbi in new Jewish book. Oh, J-ish book. It says I wrote the book and I got involved in the Black Pete debate because of what I learned from my Dutch predecessors on what it means to be a rabbi, namely to speak about social issues, not only give instructions on how to cook on the Shabbat. It says money was earned by J-ish communities in South America partly through slavery and went to Holland where J-ish bankers handled it. Wow, I thought so. Wait, shouldn't we label Rabbi Lodi van de Kemp a anti-Sem? He's talking about J-ish bankers and then how J-ish people were getting money partly through slavery. It says here, he said, non-Jays were also complicit, but so were we. I feel partly complicit. Is that right? It says here, a new book called The Jayish Slave. Good luck finding that book, by the way. Written by an Orthodox rabbi in the Netherlands, has once again highlighted the role played by Jayish extremists in the African slave trade. Wow. But I thought this was anti-Sem. My question is, did any one of us, are we, or is this rabbi, is he one of us? Are we the ones going out and putting out this information? No. So let's see what this says. It says the Jays were the largest ship chandlers in the entire Caribbean region. Whoa, wow. Is that right? It says where the shipping business was mainly a Jayish enterprise. It says according to a report in the J Telegraph Agency or JTA and the JJ, the J Journal, the book will remind Dutch Jays of their ancestors' deep involvement in the slave trade. Written by Rabbi Lodi van de Kemp, the book was sparked off by the ongoing controversy over an old Dutch Christmas tradition known as Zwart Piet or Black Pete, a mischievous character who accompanies the Dutch version of Father Christmas around Holland as his assistant. Um, but coming on down, it says here, nonetheless, Rabbi Van de Kamp, or de Camp, has joined the chorus calling for the abolition of Zwart Piet, if I'm saying that right, or Black Pete. At the same time, revealed that Dutch Jewish community also has a Black Pete tradition of its own called Hanukkah. Wow. The article in the J Journal is titled "How Culpable Were Dutch Jays in the Slave Trade?" and says that Rabbi Van de Kamp criticized the Black Pete tradition on Republic Allochtone, a Black news and opinion website based in the Netherlands. Hmm, that's very interesting. Let me see if there's anything else in here. Oh, let's see this. It says, referring to this new book on the J-ish role in the African slave trade, Rabbi Van de Kamp said that money was earned by Jewish communities in South America, partly through slavery, and went to Holland where Jewish bankers handled it. In researching the book, Rabbi Van de Kamp said he discovered data that shocked him. In one area of what used to be Dutch Guyana, 40 Jewish owned plantations were home to a total population of at least 5,000 slaves, he says. Wow. Let me see something here. Can I find this article? Rolling. There it is. I think this is it. Now this is the Rolling Stones article that we went into about a day or so ago. And I think somewhere in here, there we go. Yeah, yeah, somewhere in here it mentions something along the lines of the 2018 film was directed by Ronald Dalton Jr. and based upon his 2015 book of the same name. A description for the film states that it uncovers the true identity of the children of Israel. Wow, is that right? Look at this, look at this, look at this. I know how to get around this. Let's see. All right, let's go back and maybe we can catch this in time. Okay, got it. All right. So anyway, before they block this again, let me read quick. It says, while a similar one for the books read, since the European and Arab slave traders stepped foot into Africa, blacks have been told lies about their heritage. Both suggest Hebrews to Negroes espouse ideas in line with more extreme factions of the BHI, which have a long history of, then they go on misogyny, homophobia, xenophobia, Islamophobia, and especially anti-Sem, right? And then they go on and go on and go on. But where's the proof? That you're throwing out these accusations, but where's the proof of that? Okay. Let's see. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let me copy this part. This is the important part. It says it's those extremist sects that have often parroted classic, damn it, Salakia, I'm not signing up for any Rolling Stones, whatever. I just want to read this part right here, man. All right. Let's read this again, real quick. So it says here is those extremist sects that have often parroted classic anti-Sem tropes, like claiming European Jays, often referred to as the synagogue of Satan, wield outsized control over society, especially in industries like banking and the media. It says they've also pushed anti-Sem claims that Jays are responsible for slavery and the effeminizing of black men. Now, when we speak, we let you know that they have. Oh, hold on. There's a bit more here. Okay. It says here he claims that. Oh Lord, have mercy. The point is, let me see if I can get that one part back, and then we can read that and move on. All right. But the point is, I want to extract what they're saying here in this article. Okay. It says here he claims that when teaching slavery, schools don't mention the involvement of the Catholic Church, Arab, East African, or Islamic slave traders, or the J-ish slave ships that brought our West African Negro or Bantu ancestors to slave ports owned by Jays, right? So now they go on to say that this is whatever, anti-Sem, yada yada. So now my question is, well, when you come and you hear what's being said by this rabbi, and he's basically telling you that, yeah, you did have the Jays involved in this. They owned slaves. They had plantations where slaves were on there, all right, and ships as well. Why are we going to call him anti-Sem as well? All you had to do is just go and look it up. Okay, let's read some more. It says, according to research, um, actually, well, let me read up here a bit. Let me read up here a bit. Right here. All right. It says, known as the Jodan Savane or Jay Savannah, the area had a Jayish community of several hundreds before its destruction in a slave uprising in 1832. Nearly all of them immigrated to Holland, bringing out their accumulated wealth with them. Okay. It says here, some of that wealth, if you're referring to like the slave trade plantation part, I mean, I would say maybe somewhere along this date, 1832. But I think if you look up Jodan Savine or Jewish, hey, wow, look at me, I'm tripping. The J Savannah, you can get more information about what time period that was. But I'm sure it's somewhere around this time of the 18 something. But it says some of that wealth was on display last year in the cellar of Amsterdam's Portuguese synagogue, part of an exhibition celebrating the riches of the synagogue's immigrant founders. Rabbi Van de Kamp says the exhibition sparked his interest in the Dutch Jay's role in slavery, which he says was robust. According to research on the Caribbean island of Curacao, Dutch Jays may have accounted for the resale of at least 15,000 slaves landed by Dutch transatlantic traders, according to Seymour Drescher, a historian of the University of Pittsburgh. So, is Mr. Seymour also anti, or are we tripping out? It says Jays were also influential in those colonies that slave auctions scheduled to take place on Jayish holidays were often postponed, according to Mark Lee Raphael, a professor of Judaic studies at the College of William and Mary. It says Dr. David Duke has dealt with the issue of Jay involvement in the transatlantic slave trade in two remarkable videos, which are must-see material and can be viewed below. Let's see what it says here. It says, oh, look at this. Wow. And you see why they have to demonize us, right? Because we'll go digging and we'll bring out all of these information here, or all of this information here, and that's a big problem. That is a very big problem, because when you put up news clips like this, what you don't put up is this information, right? This right here. They don't put this part out. But we'll go and dig out and we'll bring this. Well, now we got names of slave ships. But we'll come down to this part. Let's see what this says here. And let me go ahead and leave the link before they decide to maybe cut this stream. But let me leave the link here so you can get access to it. And I'll also try to link it in the description box. But it says here, since W people are routinely condemned for 200 years of slavery in America, why are Jays, we listening? Why are Jays not condemned for their leading, whoa, hold on a second, for their leading role in slave trade over the last 2,000 years? Wow. It says the W race is to be condemned in their liberal press for having had slaves over 150 years ago in the United States. Why are Jayish people not condemned for their leading role in the slave trade over the last 2,000 years? Another question for David Duke. Then you have another one in Jay's religion or religion's position on the slave trade and sexual abuse. Wow. Hmm. Ain't that something, huh? But now let's see what this says here. It says Jayish control over American slavery. You have the name of slave ship, Abigail. Owners of slave ship, Aaron Lopez, Moses Levi, Jacob Franks. What are their real ethnicities? Jays. You have another slave ship, Crown, owned by Isaac Levi and Nathan Simpson. Jays. Nassau, Moses Levi, J. Four Sisters, Moses Levi, J. Let's do some digging, right? Let's see. Maybe let's look up the Abigail. Abigail slave ship. What do we have on that? Let's see. Aaron Lopez. Was he? Oh, Salaki, I didn't mean to lose this article. Okay, let's open up a new one. Abigail slave ship. Let's look up who's Aaron Lopez. His name is, yep, he's on here. So is Moses Levi or Levy. Aaron Lopez, 1731 to 1782, born Duarte Lopez, was a merchant, slave trader. Wow, is that what he was? Slave trader and philanthropist of colonial Rhode Island. Through his varied commercial ventures, he became the wealthiest person in Newport, Rhode Island. In 1761 and 1762, Lopez unsuccessfully sued the Rhode Island colonial government for citizenship. Let's find out. Oh, let's find out a bit about who he was. Duarte Lopez was born in 1731 in Lisbon, Portugal. He belonged to a family of conversos, which were Portuguese Jays who had converted to Catholicism. Although the family continued to practice Judaism in secret, in 1750, Lopez married a woman named Anna. Then it goes on to some other stuff here. Oh, so is that what he was? Who else was on this list? Moses Levi. Can we see who was? Moses. So we read that he was a slave trader, right? Okay, let's see. Moses Levi. Are you one of them? Let's see. Oh, he was born into an elite Sephardic Jewish family in Morocco. Oh, wow. Levi migrated to Gibraltar as a child and later established himself as a slave merchant in the Caribbean with extensive dealings in England, Europe, and the Americas. Oh man, the internet is a very, very dangerous thing, isn't it? Very dangerous thing. Who else do we have on the list? Let's look up one more. Let's look up Jacob Franks. Right? Who's Jacob Franks? What do we have here? Jacob Franks. What do we have on Jacob Franks? Okay, so we have here Jacob Franks, Jacob Joseph Frank. It says here was born Jakub. I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce that. He was a Polish Jayish religious leader who claimed to be the reincarnation of the self-proclaimed Messiah. Wow. And also of the biblical patriarch Jacob. Oh, Jacob. Let's see. What kind of business was he getting himself into? All right. Let's see what he had on here. Do we have the right guy? Okay, let's take a look in here. Let's see. Interesting. All right, so they don't seem to have any information in here about his dealings. Let me see. Do I have anything about trade? Trade. Okay, cool. So they don't seem to have anything about him. But I mean, I think the names here we have are pretty good enough, right? So you had these names. You have the names of the slave ships. You had the names of the owners of the slave ships. Because as we read, Aaron Lopez, Moses Levi, I'm sure if you look up the rest of these names, you'll find out that they were slave traders. And they were also Jays. The source is, it says, Elizabeth Donnan, 4 volumes, Documents illustrative of the history of the slave trade to America. Washington, D.C., 1930 1935, Carnegie Institute of Technology, Pittsburgh, PA. The Jayish role in the slave trade. Ah, man, what a dangerous time, huh? Anyway, I put this in the description. I mean, in the in the live chat, so you can get access to it. But I had planned to go into this article as well, but I went also against the precepts. And this, I shared a video of this. Basically, they were asking him questions about, the post and what his thoughts on it were, and he pretty much said, "Look, I got the freedom to post what I want," And it says here, he said, I think somewhere along the lines he mentioned what he's going to stand by what he believes in. There it goes. It says here, "I'm not going to stand down on anything I believe in. I'm only going to get stronger because I'm not alone. I have a whole army around me." There goes the word army again. All right. Let's see. Okay, I hope we're still live. My app just closed out of nowhere. But anyway, carrying on. So let me leave this article in the chat as well, so you can get access to it and you can read further into it. Okay, but like I titled the video, The Great Awakening. And this is the thing, right? This is why it's so hard for people to try and just come out and just throw terms out, because we will dig into it. We will look up information and we will find it and say, okay, let's go. What does the truth say? All right, forget what we think, what you feel. What is the actual truth? What is the information? What is history saying? And that's where the problem is, because now it's like, this is why we got to get these people off the corners, because if anybody starts to listen to them, that's a problem. Because once you listen, you say, wait, oh wow, let me go look into that. Oh wow, look at all this information here. Wait, so why are you calling these people liars? But this is the information that's there. It's clear as day. See? And then the power of deception they start to lose that. They need to be able to tell you something and you don't go and look it up for yourself. But the time for that is over. So this is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verse 27. It says, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared." And that's what's going on. And we're declaring it boldly, but for such a long time, it wasn't widely or publicly known. Okay, for such a long time, it wasn't put out there openly. Okay, but now it's being declared because Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is basically pushing that last chunk of information out there, and then comes the famine. All right, where they're gonna put a nice lockdown on this and basically do a purge of all this information here. Okay. So going on to the next precept, this is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 5. It says, "Behold ye among the heathen, and regard, wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which ye will not believe, though it be told you." And that's what the Lord is doing. See, when we were brought here and we were put into slavery and told that we were just black and prohibited from reading and write. Why didn't they do that to Chinese people? Why didn't they do that to anybody? Why was it us? But anyway, they did that, right? We couldn't read or write. Why? We couldn't read the Bible. Why? It was because of this very reason. But now, after all that work, we went through chattel slavery, we went through the whole Jim Crow era, we went through all of those things, where they could actually just go and pick a picnic, right? Pick a nigga, they could just pick you, hang you, lynch you, burn you, all right, and take pictures with it, and that was perfectly fine. Wait a minute, isn't that extreme? Isn't that coming against one group of particular people? For what reason? Why did you come and take us and put us on slave ships and bring us here and sell us on auction blocks? Wait a minute. Wow, you feel like you're being targeted. You feel like people are coming against you. Wait, but what about what happened to us? Both the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. Did we come and do something to you? And now you said, oh, we're going to come and find you wherever you are and just enslave you and keep you here and have you, whip your backs and have you pick cotton and, you know, put you through all this hell? So I'm a little confused as to what happened as a result of that. Where were the cries of anti-black or anti-Native American or where was that? That I don't think I saw any of that. But yet we speak the truth with words. You use whips, segregation, bombs, okay? Guns, water hose, dogs, troops, batons, murder, fire, ropes. That's what you used. We're coming out with the Bible. So I'm a little confused as to you're not extreme for doing all of that, but we're extreme for coming out with the scriptures. We're extreme for coming out and we haven't grabbed anybody. We go out there and we teach the truth, but show you how powerful the truth is, right? Why are you so afraid? Let's deal with information. But I'm sure this is not going to stay at an info war. All right, it's going to go higher and higher because the truth of the matter is they do control this. Okay, why do you think they had to throw in the part about, oh, the Jays controlling the media and everything? That's anti stuff because the elites felt that heat coming on them. They knew exactly who was talking about. Okay, second, Slovakia. Okay, so anyway, moving on, it says here, let me finish reading this. Habakkuk 1:5, I read it again. It says, behold ye among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days which you will not believe, though it be told you. And right now, everything that's happening is according to biblical prophecy. And we understand that. And we're seeing the working of Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father, and his son Yahushai. And those names will be known. They will be magnified. They will be glorified before all of this is said and done. You can't stop the truth. The scriptures say you can do nothing against the truth before the truth. All right. Moving on. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 16. It says, in that day, now Isaiah, the 19th chapter, is prophetic. Okay. And when it mentions Egypt, is referring to America. Okay. Egypt is referring to America. So it says, in that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it, which is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And we're in those days now. Verse 17, and the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Okay, and when it says the land of Judah is referring on to the children of Israel. Okay, because you have the head tribe, which is Judah, but then the rest of the tribes follow. And there's going to be a terror onto Egypt, which you're seeing now. Because now Jake is waking up. Jake is short for Jacob, which is referring to Israelites. So when you hear it say Jake, we're referring to Israelites. Okay? It says, which are predominantly so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Predominantly. Because you have Israelites that look, first off, in the book of Deuteronomy, a part of the curses were that we're going to be scattered among all people on the face of the earth. So you have Israelites that look like Jays, Jews. You have Israelites that look like Chinese people and Indians and Japanese, all of them. Okay? So not every Japanese, so-called Japanese looking person is actually Japanese. But the point is, it says here, and the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he hath determined against it. And they're seeing their kingdom coming down. They're seeing themselves being exposed. That's what's happening. They're being exposed. You have people coming out and exposing the industry, okay, how things are done behind the scenes. They're exposing the truth about nationality, because with that comes all the lies that you use to try and cover it up. That's all being dug up. Verse 18, it says, in that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan, which is Hebrew. And what would cause us to speak Hebrew? Waking up to who we are. Hebrew Israelites, coming back to our nationality. Why is that so bad? You're okay with us calling ourselves black. What is black? What is that? What heritage do black people have? When you think of black people, you think of slavery. You think of you don't. There's nothing great tied to that. Okay, history does not tell you that we're black people. Black people is a term that it was invented not too long ago, but it wasn't always there. So you need to ask yourself, who called us black people, and what were we before black people? But that's not what you're going to see in your textbooks. But anyway, it goes on to read. It says here, um, and swear to the Lord of hosts, one shall be called the city of destruction. In that day there shall be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, which the altar represents us. When we go out there and we prophesy, the prophets, okay, it's likened onto taking a sacrifice to the altar. Okay. It says, and a pillar at the border thereof unto the Lord, and it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. Because through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, starting with our elders and their elders, going out there to the highways and byways, setting up the altars, okay, bringing the sacrifice, that was a sign unto us. Okay, more and more brothers started going out, and now it's a sign unto the world. It's a witness. Okay, it says, "For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors." And guess what? The oppressors are now angry. The oppressors don't want us to cry, because when we cry, our power is going to hear us. That's a problem. When black people cry, nothing is really going to happen. When the children of Israel cry unto their God, that's the problem. So when we cried as black people, it was okay. When we cry as Israelites, that's dangerous. Okay? That's why they want to stop this so bad, but it's futile. It is futile. The only reason we were on the bottom was because through the curses of the Heavenly Father, we had to be on the bottom for a time period. But now that same creator, the same power, says time is up. Now it's time for you to wake up. Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. And now there's nothing going to stop that. Just like nothing could stop us from going into slavery, nothing can stop us from coming out. All right? Nothing can stop us from losing our heritage. Nothing can stop us from getting it back. Because this is the will and the spirit and the power of the creator. You cannot stop that. So it goes on, and you'll see in the coming days, and it's going to happen. All right, it's already happening. You're going to see it. So it says here, where we at? For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them. And that's the problem. They don't want us to be delivered. There's no harm in being black. There's a harm in being an Israelite, because now you know the name of your power, and now you can't be oppressed anymore, because our Savior is on the way. Yahushua is coming back, and his name literally means that Yah, he, Yahushua, deliverer or savior. So Yahushua is coming back. Now, what are you going to say when that time comes? As a matter of fact, these prophecies are they're still on their way. Guess what? These devils are still going to bring out the MOTB. And what those nuclear missiles that Russia and Iran and China and all of them are getting ready to use, you think they're going to stop? Oh, there's an anti-Sem controversy. Let's sit down and discuss this. That's not going to stop them from shooting those missiles over here. According to prophecy, they're still going to do it. So all this is happening in line with biblical prophecy. And more prophecies are going to be fulfilled. Ezekiel 33 and 33. More and more people are going to acknowledge, hey, you know what? This is the truth. It has to be. Now, like Elder Apostle Tahar said, let's see who's going to be the next one. Okay, is there anybody else going to step up? Because more than likely they're going to start purging. They're going to start somewhat of an inquisition within these different leagues: the basketball league, the baseball, football, soccer, entertainment. All these industries start purging. Okay, y'all, who else is of this mindset? Who else is down with this? You're gonna have certain people that they're gonna be quiet, and then you're gonna have others who the spirit is gonna jump on them, and they're gonna come out and say, yo, you know what? I mean, he wasn't wrong. He was just standing up for what he believes in. What did you say? Step to the front. Let's blackball you too. But that's gonna rouse people up because all these people have fans. They have followers who are looking into these things and saying, "Well, why are you getting at them? What was so bad about? Let me go and see what they did." Moving on, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 9. It says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, as an old lion, which for a period of time you had, really the nation, but primarily the tribe of Judah, all right, in that old lion state of being, down, being beat down, being in a low mindset, in a low state, a good for nothing mindset. But as it says, who shall rouse him up? Because now Jake is starting to be roused up, starting to wake up, starting to find out that, wait a minute, I always knew that I wasn't just some loser, whatever, some beat down individual. You got nothing going for you. Your ancestors are slaves. They were swinging on vines in Africa, and then they came in on slave ships, and that's it. That's all you'll ever amount to be. But now they're starting to wake up and say, wait a minute, no, that's not true. History says otherwise. And then you're trying to take that away. Just when Jake finally feel that sense of belonging to something important, and they start to wake up to the fact that, wow, this was us and we were lied to. Now you're trying to come and take that away. What do you think is going to happen? All right. And then you have, and I'm not going to go into the whole chapter. I mean, let's see. Let me jump to Revelation 11. Maybe the spur permits, I'll come back. All right. But this is Revelation 11 and 11. It says, after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, who? The Israelites, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. Deep down inside, they know, they're like, oh man, oh boy, they done woken up. The one thing we didn't want to happen is happening. It's like when Scar, for those that have seen The Lion King, when Scar killed Mufasa, and he deceived and put all these thoughts into Simba's head and drove him away, the one thing Scar feared was Simba coming back. Okay? And what happened when Simba came back? There was a scene where Simba was approaching Scar, and then, it was dark and it was raining and there was lightning. There was lightning, and within that lightning flash, Scar saw an image of Mufasa within Simba. He saw Simba's history, his forefather within him. And that put great fear in Scar. He was like, "Oh, Simba, what are you doing here?" That he's always trying to, do all these. But that's these guys right now, okay? Because they know what our past was, and they try to take that away from us. But you can't take away what the Lord has blessed us with. Matter of fact, I just go into it anyway. All right, I read the first 10 verses, and Ezekiel the 37th chapter is a very important chapter because we're living it right now. Okay, we were the valley of the dry bones, but now we're being brought to life. All right, this is Ezekiel 37 verse 1. It says, the hand of the Lord Yahweh was upon me, because whenever you see that word Lord in all caps, the Hebrew word or the Hebrew name is Yahweh. Yahweh. Okay, that's Hebrew. It says, and that means he is. It says, carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, they were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And these bones represent the nation of Israel, because at one point that's where we were. We were literally alive, but this represented the state or the condition that we were in. Just a valley of dry bones, dead in the mind, dead in the spirit. It says, and he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, prophesy unto these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. And in this time, that's what happened. The Lord put the spirit upon our elders and their elders to go out, because at that time you had a lot of Israelites that were in the majority of Israelites were in that condition of dry bones. All right. It says here, thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, behold, I will cause, it says, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. So did that mean that we were literally dead? No. But the breath represented the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. In Wisdom of Solomon, the 7th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, it likens wisdom onto what? The breath of God. Okay. And us living, meaning that we would now have the proper ways, the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. What's that? Proverbs 21:16. The man that wandereth out of the away or out of the congregation, let me see, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Meaning that if you don't have that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you're spiritually dead. Okay. So it goes on and it says here, so I prophesy, Slakia, it says, and ye shall live, and I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Meaning that the Lord was going to start to give us back our nationality, give us back our heritage, and eventually give us the truth. Okay? The understanding of who we are. Why are we in this condition? Who is our God? Who is our power? Who are our enemies? What is going on? What is the truth? And we would know, okay, that the Lord is our power. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind. Prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord God, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. Now, when you go to Revelation 11:8, it talks about what? Their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. And is referring to Israelites when it says the dead bodies, but we weren't literally dead, but we didn't have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. See? So as it says, breathe upon these slain that they may live. So we would get the true, correct understanding. All right. It says, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet. What? An exceeding great army. There goes that word again. Okay. And that's what's putting fear into pretty much everybody. You know why they're so afraid? Because they know what the truth is. All right. And they know what this means. But the point of the matter of the fact is, this is the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and this is biblical prophecy. Okay. And things are moving very quickly. The Lord is turning things up. Okay. So you gotta be on board, and you gotta be in the right spirit with all of these things happening, and you gotta be prepared, to stand up for the Lord. Okay, and stand up for what you believe in. All right, we're not doing anything wrong for believing the Bible, for standing up for what we believe in. Everybody can do it, but when we stand up for the truth, that's a problem. No. All right, and if we stand up for the Lord, we stand up for righteousness, the Lord is going to defend us. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.